It is my absolute pleasure to very warmly welcome Professor Bhidayasiri from Thailand. Professor Roongroj Bhidayasiri does not need introduction for movement disorders world or World Federation Neurology. He is still a young neurologist, but he is a giant in this field with what he has done over the last decade or so. But we are here mainly to talk about upcoming World Brain Day. Professor Bhidayasiri, how excited are you as the Asia-Oceanian chapter of International Parkinson's Disease and Movement Disorder Society, where large population of the world live? How excited are you to celebrate World Brain Day 2020 on a disease that is close to your heart, Parkinson's disease?
Yes, Tissa, thanks very much, and thanks so much for the opportunity for me to share with you about what we are doing and what we are going to work together on this activity of the World Brain Day 2020. And I just don't know how to express how pleased I am, as a chair of the AOS section, and also for Thailand to have the opportunity to celebrate the World Brain Day 2020 with World Federation of Neurology. Let me say something about the situation in Thailand first. Parkinson's is still relatively new, for the community, which involve patients, carer, even general doctors in Thailand. And the activity for Parkinson's disease, used to be quite limited. But with the public awareness and some of the activities that we have been doing within the country, Parkinson's disease start to get known. But just want to say that there's still a lot that we need to learn, and people need to learn. There's still a lot of knowledge gap, lack of awareness, misconceptions, and so on. And these issues that exist in not only patients but also doctors and carers and those who are involved probably need time to change, needs time to improve, and probably cannot be changed by just only one person, cannot be changed just only me, just only one neurologist with two hands, right? But it is a national effort that I used to think when I returned home. But when I start to get to know people, working collaboration with other people in the region, or even internationally, my mind's changed that needs to be a global effort. The global effort that we need to work together to trying to overcome these limitations and open the opportunities for patients, but not just only patients, but for doctors and those who is involved as well. So let me say, on behalf of Thailand and AOS, I'm absolutely delighted to have the opportunity to join the activity of World Brain Day. The opportunity, for us, to really put this thing globally to improve the situation of the Parkinson's disease treatment, diagnosis, and so on for our community.
I totally agree. We are in the middle of COVID-19 pandemic. However, you and me both, as WFN members as well as MDS members, know very well that Parkinson's disease itself is a pandemic also. We have seen from the global burden disease data how Parkinson's disease doubled globally from 1996 to 2016. And the suffering coming from Parkinson's disease and other movement disorders are universal. Therefore, finding a solution has to be universal also. And universal solutions cannot be discovered by, as you very correctly pointed out, a single neurologist, a single pair of hands. That's why we need a global concerted effort. And I'm delighted to say that it is happening. We are seeing the collegial partnership between two massive organizations, World Federation Neurology and Movement Disorder Society. And you will hear more about Global Neurology Alliance, where every Neurological Association is putting a concerted effort to promote better brain health globally. Now, one last question. If you want the AOS chapter members as well as national neurological societies in Asia-Oceania region globally, but we are going to concentrate on our region for this particular video clip. How do the members of each country, the MDS chapter or WFN affiliated national societies, how can they get involved in organizing World Brain Day related activities, which we want them to run along the year, not limiting to a particular day? How can they find the slides or banners or other things? Where can they find those information?
Yeah. First of all, Tissa, I just want to congratulate you on this effort that you have put together for this World Brain Day 2020 for Parkinson's disease. And this is a huge task, and I see this as although it is a challenge, it's a big challenge, but it's also a big opportunity that you have point out. And thanks so much for extending this opportunity to Asia-Oceania. I think that in order to involve and connect people, I find that what is the most important thing is to understand what they want. Mm-hmm. And what they want in different regions can be very different. Mm-hmm. Not only for patients, but for physicians and people involved and so on. But I think that we all share the same thing, is that the desire that we all want to improve the Parkinson's disease situation, either treatment management in our own country, in our own community. But to deliver that, to the right people, with the right task at the right time, with the right connections, and probably, requires a team approach, and also, to understand them as we discussed earlier. So, what I would want to work with, you and the global community, and also, within the AOS is, probably how can we understand them so we can deliver the right information to them. So, I have seen you done the survey, looking at the, opportunity, challenge, availability, but also limitations, mm-hmm. Of the Parkinson's disease, management in different countries. And I think this is one of the approach that, I think this is quite right and on the track, that this is where the Federation of Neurology is embarking on this. This is a long road, but is probably likely that we are going to be able to deliver the right kind of information and the right kind of intervention to the individual community. So absolutely agree with you on the tasks on this survey, and and I see the amount of information that you have been gathering, not only within the WFN, but from the other professional organizations like the International Parkinson's Movement Disorder Society, MDS, as well. And you create a big resource of information that people can choose, depends on what they feel that it suits them. So you make it very applicable, mm-hmm. To those who actually need, and you provide the choices and options. And I think this is another thing that I see that is a very good and very nice intervention. But what I probably would like to add more is to that, follow up, periodic, intervention and assessments, or either determine our key results probably are very important in this regard as well. So, I will be very happy to work with you in terms of to ensure that, the survey is implemented within our region, the resources are available, and get across to those who are interested, and help you, work as a team to ensure that, we, able to, do this on a regular basis and ensure that, the follow-up, on results are needed. Thank you.
I agree. I think what this pandemic is doing to us is it is not separating us globally. It is actually connecting us. When humans are challenged with all these physical distancing and social distancing rules and virus-related activities, we adapt to the situation. And right now, I am talking to you from my Melbourne home, and you are in Thailand, and we are talking about global problems and trying to find ways to connect dots and find solutions. I'm very optimistic that we would solve a lot of problems related to brain with this collaborative collegiate efforts between massive international and national organizations. I totally agree with your point that different countries, different institutions, different needs might be different, but they can still visit these massive the databases and resources in MDS website, as well as WFN website and local societies to choose what they need. Is AOS membership or the leadership is open for different countries' approach to let's say, for an example, if someone from Burma email you or contact you saying that for their World Brain Day, they are organizing this sort of educational activity, would you or one of your colleagues be able to support them with a video link talk with appropriate pre-notification, of course? Is that something that AOS leadership is open to, or are there barriers for that sort of request?
Yes, you are right on, and this is one of the strategic action plan that we actually considering for our region. That certain areas within the AOS are considered as an outreach area, and in those areas are actually targeted for a specific kind of educational opportunity. And with the opportunity that and resources we are putting together, I think that this is I just want to say this is borderless and it's open to us all, and we are actually in talks among ourselves in the AOS how to ensure that this kind of opportunities are very well distributed in our region, and this outreach area will be targeted, and I can ensure you that the message of World Brain Day will get across to the key outreach area within the Asia-Oceania.
Thank you very much. Professor Bhidayasiri, I know you have a very busy schedule, and I gave you like 12 hours notice for this interview. Thank you very much for giving your time away. And thank you very much for your tremendous leadership for the region also. You are an asset to Thailand, and you are an asset to the world. And we will support you fully, and we will help you to achieve this mission as the problems need global solutions, and together we can definitely end the suffering of Parkinson's disease to the mankind. For our viewers, hang around. We would be having a one-on-one candid interview with Professor Bhidayasiri on his journey, and those medical students and others who might be watching this, why you should be interested in neurology and why you should be using the opportunities that we create with such activities such as World Brain Day. So stay tuned and listen to the Prof. Bhidayasiri's own story very soon that we would upload to World Federation Neurology YouTube channel. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day, and stay safe and well.
Yeah, thanks so much, Tissa.
It is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to a very unique colleague and friend and a well-known expert in movement disorders from Thailand. Professor Roongroj Bhidayasiri, many of us have seen how he was growing over last decade or so, from totally unknown to very well known in movement disorders. He's also very famous for his charismatic smile also. The Roongroj, very warm welcome to World Federation Neurology YouTube channel. The first question for you is, tell the world who you are and what you do these days.
First of all, Tissa, thanks for your kind words. And, I have been back home for, counting back, it's like 14, 15 years already. And, but I'm so proud to say that, I'm a neurologist, who graduated from Thailand, finished medical school in Thailand, and now returned back and, work back home in Thailand, running Parkinson Disease and Movement Disorder Center at Chulalongkorn University. And, I'm proud to be back home. I'm proud to join the force of neurologists back home, since we have only 500 altogether for the whole country. And I'm pleased with the opportunity within the country and also internationally, and also with the World Federation of Neurology, and also working with you.
How did you become interested in neurology? We all know, as you know, I grew up in rural Sri Lanka, and I did my basic degree in Sri Lanka. I remember as a young medical student reading Professor Nimanitia's work on dengue hemorrhagic fever, which your pioneering work, which is from your university. So the Chulalongkorn University has a very high regard in global front from that end. What made you interested in neurology?
Wow, the story was quite long, but I, still remember very well that, I must say that when I finished the medical school in Thailand, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And, I went for the postgraduate training in the UK, and, we did general medicine. I was doing a senior house officer post in general medicine, and, I'm sure you can imagine that we see all sorts of things, and, get to know different sorts of specialties. And I remember that I'm struck one day, patients on the casualty with a brainstem syndrome, and I find that all these clinical signs are quite fascinating, and it's like a click somehow that I find that neurology fascinates me, and it's like a click. And I remember with that case, I went back to read about it, all those tracks that I learned when I was a medical student. And one thing that taught me at that time, that if you're really interested in something, if you really want to know something, it's not that difficult to you. And I remember at that time that, when I was a medical student and read about this track, I found it so hard to memorize. But, when you actually see patients and you try to make a correlation, you understand that very well. And since then, I think that I'm hooked with neurology, and, and then that my path in neurology actually started there.
So when did you come back from UK to Thailand?
Oh, I mean, my journey was a bit long, and so I did the postgraduate in the UK, then did the membership, stay a few years in the neurology post, and then I moved to the US to complete the neurology residency at UCLA before returning to Thailand.
Who inspired you most? This is science. I hope I will not make people unhappy by asking this question. What were the pioneering names that come to your mind in UK as neurologists who inspired you most?
Yeah,
I'm sure everyone did, but you can't
sure.
give your name.
Some time.
I
I must say that I'm lucky to have the opportunity to work with great people in neurology, and to name a few is a late Professor John Newsom Davis from the Radcliffe Infirmary, and he was expert in the myasthenia gravis. Robin Howard, at that time, he specialized in the neurocritical care. Professor Mohammad Sharif in the multiple sclerosis, and so on. They're all great people, and I learned a lot from them. And but I think that who actually inspired me the most are patients whom I saw.
Right.
I think that those who inspire me, from the first patient that made me interested in neurology, continue to be patients, movement disorder patients that made me interested in Parkinson's disease and movement disorders. And and I can assure you one thing, that even though they all diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, they're all very different. They are all teachers, so they all inspire me somehow. Some patients, they walk to me with incredible, severe tremor, in my view as a physician. But when you ask them, they concerned about, the problem with, passing water, urination, or insomnia. So, all these patients actually inspire me and make me really interested in this field, and, and now make me interested in one of the key area of the research is to how to, measure, treatment response in the way that patients feel that, it's actually matter to them. And this is one of the key research that, we're really working on.
I think you hit the nail on the head. There was a famous sort of saying that doctors talk more about statistics, but patients have hopes, and they wanted to get better, and what is bothering them may not be necessarily the same what is bothering you as a physician, and it is important that we connect the dots. So from UK, did you directly go to USA, or did you come back to Thailand and then you make your next journey to learn more?
I went straight to the US, and I get the opportunity to work with great people again. So I'm lucky, having been exposed to both continents, and to medical system, for the postgraduate training. So I trained at UCLA, under Jeff Bronstein, who is the head of the movement disorder there. He's one of my mentors. But I have the opportunity to work with Malon Delong at Emory. At that time, I got the studentship to work with him, from the Dystonia Medical Foundation, and that was one of the, one of the early opportunities that I get to expose, to work with, I would say basal ganglia, expert guru there. And then, I have the opportunity, to work, I would say remotely, doing work with Stanley Fan, Dan Tarsi, they all gave me the opportunity, to work, in the American Academy of Neurology together on the practice of the tie-dye syndrome, and the book that I, published together with Dan Tarsi. So I learned, I learned not just the knowledge, but I learned the way that they approach things. I learned the way that they deal with problems. I learned the way that how they overcome stress, the way that they delegate tasks, and how they become so successful. So, that is, how I see it.
That is one of the other unique strengths that I personally have observed, your ability to synthesize and generate printed material at a very fast rate. How many books have you written so far in movement disorders and neurology?
I never count actually, but it's not that many. Tissa, I would not say it's not many, but I didn't count it because you know, one of my early professors told me that, you know, the most difficult, you know, task for each project is, you know, that you need to finish it. You know, to start and to execute this paper is quite easy, but to finish it is the most difficult one. And so I actually have a great joy when I, you know, able to click submit and, you know, to see that, you know, move to the next stage. And that is please moment that I click that button actually. And so that was the one that I'm looking forward to for each project. But, you know, I mean, as I'm probably getting older, you know, I feel that, you know, doesn't number matter. The number doesn't really matter. But, you know, it's just, you know, the more you write, the more you read, and the more we feel that we don't know. And the more we feel that, you know, the more we give, the more we teach, the more we talk, and the more we listen, and, you know, the more we know. So, and this is
I'll get you to repeat that. You throw out some golden words.
Yes.
I want the audience to listen to this again. So go through it again.
Probably I can't repeat it now, but because this is, you know, spontaneous speech. But this is how I feel now. Is that you know, you read, you write, and, you know, when you realize, you know, how much you don't know, and then you enjoy, you know, knowing more, and to, you know, realize that you don't know more, and then you know, get to know more. So yeah.
And also, Roongroj also said that you listen more, and you give more, and you teach more.
Yes.
And that let you know more, and that gave you more joy rather than stacking up numbers. So thank you for those beautiful words. Let's change the text a little bit. I know that you have been prolific academically, as well as the organization point of view, globally and regionally, and certainly you are a big asset to Thailand. How do you find your spare time? What sort of hobbies do you have outside medicine? Tell us a little bit more about your family background. Are you coming from a doctor's family, or what sort of parents do you have, your siblings, and your immediate family?
No, I'm the only doctor in the family, and you probably, you know, understand the Asian culture as well. That you know, to be a doctor in family, you know, carry on, you know, a number of responsibility. And in addition to that, you know, I'm the eldest son, so, you know, you have certain duties and so forth. But
you basically, you know, have the same thing in common.
Yes, that's right. But, you know, but, you know, I would say that, you know, I'm happy back home. I'm happy here in Thailand. You know, you know, you learn to balance things really. It's very different when I'm returning to Thailand comparing when I was in the US or in the UK. But, you know, as I mentioned earlier, as I get older, I learn to, you know, balance things. So you need to, you know, find time to do other things. And I probably, you know, Tissa, you know, I have to say that I don't have that special talents. So my free time, you know, it just, you know, enjoy my time with the family, and I value that so much. And, you know, and even more now that to spend time with my 7-year-old boy, you know, to see him, you know, able, you know, to read, you know, much better. You know, he's now studying the third language, you know, he's playing guitar and so on. And this is what I enjoy the most now. But, you know, I used to play cello, you know, but not very good at it. But, you know, I have to admit that I never have time to go back to that again. But it's probably one of the things that, you know, I will be looking forward in doing that. And I play sports. You know, nowadays, what I can do by the most is, you know, running, you know, on the treadmill, just a basic there. But I value time with my family the most. Yes. No other special talent, Tissa.
Right, right. Thank you very much for your time again. My last question is, what is your message to those medical students, young doctors who are out there, whether they are neurology trainees or not? What do you say to them if they want to build a career like yours? What are your few messages to them?
I think probably, as, I become older, one thing that I realized that one of the most important things that probably is going to shape how we think, how we react to people, or even how we plan ourselves is that you need to understand what people want. It's not just about you that, how much you know or how much you achieve and how much you can deliver. All these things that you're going to know, deliver, or plan is very much depends on how much you understand what people want from their interaction. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, you need to understand what your patients want. Mm-hmm. So you can deliver the treatment to them correctly. You need to understand what your audience wants, so you can give a proper lecture to them and not make them very bored. And you need to understand what, your hospital wants, so you can deliver, a proper kind of, management team and so forth. And you need to understand what your teamwork wants, so you will be able to work with them and lead them. And, over the years, I find that, to understand what people want is actually a very important skill. It's a very important skill. And for me, I learned it along the way, to understand and then to adjust and to balance and to, make things work and again, finish it. And, lastly, the last thing I want to say that you asked me about, writing the book is, you need to understand what the readers want, the reviewers want and the publisher wants and so on. So I think that this is probably one of the skill that is very important and the key message that I would like to share with you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, the Professor Bhidayasiri, for those wise words. And as you can see how selfless the gentleman is. So you have to put others in front of you, and you have to put other people's shoes. It's not about us, it is about what they want from us. If you wanted to be a good husband, that is what you ask. What does she want from me? If you want to be a good dad, you wanted to ask, what does he or she want from me? And similarly, as caring physicians, we should always ask what our patients' needs are. We are talking about a whole lot about doctors' burnout and this and that. But at the same time, we have to realize that hospitals are organizations, and those organizations may have an agenda that what they want from us. So before we start blaming them or criticizing, it's a good idea for us to at least know what they need, and then try our very best to deliver them within reasonable attitude and aptitude. Again, thank you very much for your time. Have a wonderful day, and stay safe and stay well, because we want you to deliver more in relation to what the Asia-Oceanian region and what this world needs. And I look forward to seeing you at future WFN and MDS events. Take care.
Thanks so much, Tissa.
Thank you.